Hey everyone, it's the Ioniq guy here. In this week's video, I'm going to be showing you how I installed the wiring harness for the trailer package, which will allow you to connect a 4-pin connector to the car. So what you're going to want to do is remove everything out of the trunk, fold down the rear seats, and then you're going to tape around the weather stripping. Now you do this because the adhesive that they use for attaching the weather stripping to the car is really sticky stuff and it gets on everything. So try and nip it in the bud, tape on the outside, tape on the inside. I only taped on the outside and I regret just doing that. I had to use WD-40 to remove some of the adhesive that got on the plastic trim of the interior, but it came off fairly easy with WD-40, but soap and water, alcohol, none of those will work. So WD-40 if you do get it on any of the plastic. The next thing you're going to do here is remove one clip on the left side and the other clip on the right side using a trim removal tool or a flathead screwdriver if that's all you have. Then you're going to want to pull back the weather stripping and just rest it gently on the tape you put around the outside of the car. Next thing you're going to do is just pull straight up on this plastic piece here, and it should release fairly easily. Set that to the side. Reinstall the weather stripping just so that it's not hanging there and possibly getting adhesive on the car. So according to the installation instructions, you're supposed to be able to use a 14mm socket to remove these plastic nuts that hold down this plastic cover behind the seats. And those nuts just spin freely in place, and I could not figure out for the life of me how to remove them. So what I ended up doing was climbing in the back seat and sitting on the folded seats, and I just pulled straight up on it and it released. It just pulled those plastic nuts right over the bolts. Now you're going to want to pull back the weather stripping on the driver's side rear door, and this is going to allow you to start prying up the plastic door sill cover, which this piece was very difficult to pry up. It had at least 5 clips, and I ended up cracking the entire panel while applying too much force, as you can see here. So if you do this, make sure you take your time and be careful with this panel. Now back in the trunk, there's 3 Phillips head screws, one at the back, one in the middle, and the last one near the back seat. Pull back the weather stripping a little bit more, and then you can just start pulling on that plastic panel, and it's only held in place with clips, and they should all disengage fairly easily. This was a lot easier to remove than the door sill panel. Now there are 2 electrical connectors back here, one for the LED light and one for the 12 volt. With those connectors disconnected, the whole panel is easily pulled out. So remove the rubber bung, and you can fish up the wiring harness from below the car. You don't need the jacket or anything. If you have long enough arms, you can just see the light coming down through the hole and fish it up through. Once through, just seat that new bung in the hole. So there is some tape up here at the factory installed wiring harness area. So you want to remove that, and then you can connect the trailer hitch harness. Then you take that connector and put it into the control module. Take the connector coming from the car and put it into the other port on the control module. Each of these plugs has a different number of pins, so you can't get them backwards. Then you're going to put some zip ties through the control module, and you're going to tuck it under the factory wiring harness down low in the trunk, and you're going to secure it with 2 zip ties. It is a tight fit, but if you wiggle it under there gently, it'll stay nice and secured. Zip tie number 2 going on. Trim your zip ties. Then in a few different locations along the new wiring harness, you're just going to want to secure that in place with some zip ties. So before I start reassembly, I'm going to plug in my 4-flat tester, and I'm going to check and see that everything's working properly. So here we have brakes, left turn signal, right turn signal, and our hazard lights. So now that everything's working, we can start reassembly of the car, which is simply doing everything in reverse. So you will notice that the trunk light is on, which means I did not disconnect the battery negative. The instructions suggest that you do that. I chose not to. All we were working with was 2 simple electrical connectors, and the risk of getting shocked from that is pretty slim since there's not really any metal exposed out of the connector. So if you don't feel comfortable with electricity, I would suggest that you disconnect the battery. If not, it's up to you. So after installing the control module, a new page came up in the EV settings, which I'll show you later in this video, but the software automatically updates once the module is in place, so you don't have to download something new, you don't have to update anything, it just automatically starts showing that new page. Under the car, you can see where the cable comes out, and right here is where you're going to zip tie it. And here's the other zip tie placement. So here in the car, this is the screen that you'll find comes up with the installation of the control module. It says trailer mode, and then you can select various weights. And as you select these weights, if it does see a trailer connected, it will automatically update your estimated range, which is its best guess. As far as I know, I can't find anything that says what is considered a small weight or a medium weight or a heavy weight. So once I get my hitch installed, I'll start messing around with these and I will report back. So I ran a little test and I plugged in my tester and I went for a drive just to see how the car would react sensing a trailer. You cannot use iPedal with a trailer attached, which is to be expected. And highway driving assist works completely and fully. You can even do automatic lane changes, which is really nice. Unfortunately, it does not automatically disable the reverse sensors, so you will have to disengage those manually via the button next to the climate controls. So this concludes the installation of the trailer hitch wiring harness. Everything seems to be working well. I'll post a link in the description to where you can purchase it and the installation instructions if you want to give those a look over before you do anything. The installation instructions are very well written and they lay everything out nicely. Like I said earlier, I should be getting my trailer hitch the end of April. I'll be doing an installation video on that. And once that's installed, I will be doing some range testing with my teardrop trailer, and we'll see how the Ioniq 5 tows. So I hope you guys liked this video. If you liked watching, hit subscribe, hit the like button, turn on the notification bell. I'll have a lot more videos coming out in the next few weeks. Thanks for watching.